Welcome to another episode of the Love Not Fear podcast. Eduard, what is our topic today?
Okay, the topic today is being responsible versus blaming. Taking, yeah,
Okay, I first thing that comes to mind is I heard a talk by Sadhguru, who I really like, and he said we are being responsible. It's on your shoulders or your burden, but
mhm,
you're able to respond. And let's say in a business situation, if something doesn't go right, or anyway, if something doesn't go right, you see something on the street, you're able to respond. I think this is like the thing that you have the right to respond to things that happen in your surrounding. I thought this like an interesting thing, whereas like seeing it as a burden, rather seeing it as a I don't know gift or power that you have that you are able to respond.
yeah. I think one of the topics that pops to mind is what can you learn from a situation? What lesson is there to extract from the opportunity of the challenge? So, how can you grow from the experience, and how can you improve your skills by tackling this and acknowledging it? It's like the compound interest of learning. If you talk
Hmm.
about people, what you learn, you master it. So learning, telling, learning, doing. It's the more those are integrated. If you not sit under a tree, but work with it, talk to other people, and start implementing, then that's when things started to roll.
Yeah, and also blaming, like blame is like the worst thing you can do. Like nobody gets any benefit from blaming.
Blaming is about is frustration. Is not being able to change. So blaming is for me, blaming is on one hand, yeah, frustration and yeah, not seeing the next step, perhaps.
Also being victimized, like being in the victim role, versus if I sit there and blame versus like taking action and improving it. Being responsible. Like blaming is like, this is not right, versus like taking action.
Yeah. The
Blaming and
first.
complaining, like one of our family core values is Hensels don't complain, Hensels find solutions. And this is
Hmm,
something I've hammered into my daughter's head. Every time
okay.
when I only slightly complain about something, she always said, "Daddy, we don't complain. We find
Yeah.
solutions." So it's like my accountability buddy in this regard.
And what did you do to help her focus on what's within her power and when not to fight dragons that are unfightable?
Actually, a friend of mine, sorry, it's a little tangent. Talked to a friend of mine about AI yesterday, and how negatively impactful this could be to the world. And he said like, yeah, it's you can either slay the dragon or learn how to ride it. you
Right.
know so I
Yeah.
thought it's kind of cool. But with Emma, in terms of like what can she impact, I guess every time she complains and I tell her, honey, hence don't complain, hence find solution. So then we talk about the current situation, and it's kind of learning by doing. It's like, what could we do differently, or what way out do we have, or how can we impact the situation, and then we just talk about it. And this is
And
kind of learning by.
how about dosing it? If you talk to your daughter about a really big topic like climate change, there's a lot of
Well,
people
she's
that
9. We don't really talk about climate change, but
okay,
yeah.
nine. Let's go to that topic anyway. So that's a big topic. That's not, you're not going to change it overnight. You can be discouraged about not doing anything because it's so big, and yeah, what are you going to do about it? And the rest is yeah, yeah how do you stay motivated to make minor contributions toward a bigger goal or towards solving problems?
So in this regard, because there's at some point I was very, kind of figuring out like how the world works and like all the problems that there are, and this was like kind of really dragging me down. But then I decided that I only focus on the things that I want to impact, because I have only a certain amount of gunpowder meaning time, resources,
Yeah.
money. So and I want to like make a big impact somewhere, and not, if I put a little bit gunpowder here, a little bit there, I'm gonna lie, it's just gonna make like but nothing will happen. I want to kind of like focus it and make a big boom. somewhere. So I decide which topics
Mm.
or which problems I focus on. Like world hunger or climate change, etc.
Yeah.
I and this is gonna I'm gonna get canceled. Like I don't care to some degree, because
Yeah.
I want to care about other things. It's not that I don't care in the sense of like, screw these people or screw the world. I'm doing, for example, with climate change. I'm doing the things that I can do that help in the sense. I guess I live a conscious life. Like not buying things with lots of plastic wrap, not
Hmm.
taking plastic bags, not. I'm vegan, which also kind of helps with
Yeah.
climate change. I travel a lot,
Yeah.
which is against it. This it's a complex issue, but I chose not to make this my problem, if this
Yeah.
makes sense. Where I spend my time and energy and resources on. I focus on educating or like helping people to understand the concept of love, not fear. And I think if lots of people understand this, then they'll also be more conscious about environment, about animal rights,
Yeah.
whatever. So I guess this is my take on this. That
Mm.
if you there's so many problems, and if you worry about all of them and freak out about all of them, you will not make any impact. Even climate change is it's definitely a big problem, but I don't understand it fully, and I didn't dig in, and I decided it's not my the thing that I want to work on. There's lots of
Focus.
other
Yeah.
construction sites in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the flip side of being of blaming is forgiving. It's a very interesting topic about what do I forgive. That's a question that helps you review and break the arguments that you've made with yourself. And we spoke about North Star core values, um, things that don't relate to that at all. They don't serve you, and they might be easier to forgive and forget maybe even. So yeah, by looking at those, I think you can free yourself from again from the limiting stories that create anger and bitterness, and it's
Yeah, I
keeping
mean,
you
like
from actually
also
living the
just
life.
just don't watch the news. Just kind of don't drill in all the problems that are going on, because some of the problems that the news show us are not really problems, or not your problems. Like if you
Yeah,
focus on these things you can't impact, then you're in the victim position,
yeah,
and then you have no power, and this kind of like limits or reduces your power and
hmm,
other things that you could impact.
yeah,
So I always just want to impact people around me, and like everybody I can reach, and then kind of like
yeah,
work on
yeah,
these things versus freaking out over things I can't impact.
yeah. Uh, Watching the news, it zooms in on certain topics, and the news often zooms in on the same topics. It leaves you with a feeling that yeah, almost like a burden. And the problem with news is it's sort of like a rabbit hole. If you keep focusing on the same stuff, you might lose the big picture. So how I rather speak to people and use multiple sources of information than just watch a news. News gives me a feeling of being victimized and blamed. I don't know how that is, because it I don't know. Maybe it's just the Netherlands where I live. It's that it's brought to you in a way that okay, we have it so good here. We got our shit
Hmm.
together, and look at what's happening to the rest of the world. It's like at any time you could see the action for collecting money pop in. You the gyro number, donate here. That's sort of the message that feels like it's going to pop up. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that's last episode we talk about the inflatable toy that you
Let some
can
air out.
deflate. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But um, that's also about being. It has very much to do with this topic as well. What are you blaming yourself for? People are very harsh on
Harsh on
themselves.
yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually I am. You want to the inner voice that you have. I think we talked about this before. Four agreements. We're all wizards with our words. We want to make sure when we talk with ourselves, we talk the same way we would like to have a great coach talk to your child in a soccer game or something like this. Like, oh, you fell down or you didn't score, doesn't matter, get back, get back on the horse, keep pushing, you can do this, I believe in you, etc. And same with like blaming yourself about things. I think it's highly counterproductive. Like if something happened where you messed up, accept it. Okay, I messed up there. Sit down and think about like what can I do to make sure this never happens again.
Right.
What can I do to fix the situation? Like make whatever. If I did something that pissed off my wife, what can I do to make her whole again, to make her happy again?
Yeah.
And how can I make sure that never happens again, and then be done with it?
Hmm.
Because otherwise you just like waste mental resources. Again, like worry time, it's kind of like hangs in your head and eats from your CPU power.
Yeah. You make it sound very easy. It is not. Anybody will agree. Okay, so what is the thing to chew on from this episode? I like the gunpowder.
Yeah, where you want to
Never heard of
focus?
that.
Like where do you want to focus? Again, it goes in line with the mission, vision, values.
Yeah.
Like where do you want to make an impact? What do you want to change? And ignore the rest.
Cool. It's a wrap. So go to the website. If you haven't registered already, please register. And if you have any topics that you would like us to elaborate on and give it some thought, then drop them in the community. See you next time.
Rock and roll.